The next session that is lined up for today is on the topic implementing our compliance and due diligence systems, what we did, pitfalls, challenges, and the lessons learned. And this will be presented by Mr. Talal Shoukat, the Chief Compliance Manager for Gulf Exchange. So, to quickly introduce Mr. Talal, he has about 15 years of experience in financial services such as banking operations, compliance, financial crimes, sanctions, AML, CFT, system implementation and training. He's a certified anti-money laundering specialist, certified global sanctions specialist, ACMS, a certified compliance manager, CCM, GCI, train the trainer from ILLAF UK, associate charter banker from Charter Banker Institute in UK, and a banking diploma in IBP. He holds multiple other financial crime related certifications and training programs and academics in the field of financial risk assessment, customer due diligence, trade due diligence, uh, and risk-based approach. He has, in addition to the above, deep knowledge in compliance system implementation. He's an accredited trainer from the Global Compliance Institute and provides GCI trainings, GCI certification trainings in Qatar and across the globe. He thinks that financial crime is one serious issue and one need to upskill themselves in order to combat the serious crime. A very good morning, Mr. Talal. We're glad
Good
to
morning.
be having you on board for this particular discussion. So I
Thank
leave the
you.
stage for you now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anil, for your kind introduction. I think I don't know that much about myself that you introduced today. Thanks for the kind
That's being
gesture.
so humble, Mr. Talal.
Yeah. So we will start our topic. Let me share my screen. Just Mr. Anil confirm that my screen is visible.
Not yet.
Is it now?
Not yet, Mr. Talal. Request you kindly click on the present icon and then share your entire screen.
Is it
Yes, now it's
visible now?
visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. One moment.
Okay, so we'll start, our session with implementing. I took, sanction as one of the measures to talk about today. So we'll start with sanction and then implementing sanction compliance and due diligence system. Myself is introduced already by Mr. Anil, but here I would like to say that the thoughts which I'll be presenting today as a disclaimer is my own thoughts. Doesn't represent my organization. Whatever I'll be talking here is mostly about my journal research, which is available in the public domain, and some of the experiences which are also shared during the talk today. So, uh, so agenda of my session today will be introducing sanctions and an approach and mindset of a sanction professional, sanction screening technology in 2023, evaluation of vendors, implementing sanctions, review and deployment, managing BAU, periodic review, and closing it with a case study and conclusion. So I took a specific approach of going on this topic, and my core area is sanctions here today. So now let me introduce briefly about sanctions. I'm sure everyone is aware of it, and it's one of the hot topics nowadays, especially when Russian sanctions are imposed after the Russia-Ukraine war. So sanction, to brief it, it's actually an economic action taken against a target, a state, class, person, or individuals to influence the target action. So, influencing is something which is actually the objective of sanctions, but it should be based on some incentives. Until or unless there is no incentive, it doesn't work. So, sanctions are often a long term strategy to bring about change as an alternative to war. Multilateral sanctions, such as those imposed by UN, are generally more effective because overall, UN members will apply them. Sanctions especially works best when paired by incentives such as foreign investment instead of being only punitive. Now, influence actions. What actions actually are need to be influenced due to sanctions? The freedom and democracy. Let's say the freedom of democracy is a stake of a state, or another state is doing harm for another state. So in such situation, the sanctions are imposed to change or to enforce a behavior, let's say, to achieve freedom and democracy. There are environmental issues, because of that also sanctions are imposed. Then nuclear non-proliferation we see in shape of sanctions on Iran and then North Korea as well. Human rights related sanction, strengthening the human rights or labor rights. Magnitsky Act is one of the famous regime in that. Whereas there was a Russian tax accountant who was killed in a jail. Based on that, US introduced a sanction, human rights sanction as well. Free citizens, land captures, money laundering related, illegal goods, military related, all these are type of sanctions. Now, to apply these sanctions, we should have a mindset. So how that mindset will come? First of all, comprehensive knowledge, because sanction is a fact where they are changing so fast. Let's say if we are talking now, there might be the sanctions in your emails, maybe there is alerts already by of fact that there some individuals are sanctioned or some entities are sanctioned. So your knowledge should be comprehensive, updated. Analytical and risk-based thinking, assess and evaluate the risk of that particular sanctions. If we talk about how it will impact your business and organization. Attention to detail, focus on accuracy and precision in compliance process. Proactive and reactive approach, both you should have. If we say proactive approach, update yourself, anticipate and respond to the risk in real time. Ethical and compliance oriented mindset, prioritize integrity and adherence to the regulation. Collaborative and adaptive, you should be collaborative with industry peer learning. Then continuous learning is something where when it's very important that you should improve. When Anil introduced me, there are a lot of certification. The objective is that we must continue, because learning is a journey from cradle to grave. Now let's talk about the technology, because our focus is here implementing the technology. So I'll talk more about sanction screening technology, which automates and enhance the process of identifying especially potential matches against sanction list and relevant databases. So what are the functionalities available in the systems, various system which we use in the market? Sanction list matching, entity resolution, risk scoring, enhanced due diligence, and real time monitoring. So, what about the capabilities? Automation, integration, and then customization, analytical report. Mr. Muhammad was also speaking on such topic before. What about the reach? It should reach, there should be a global reach and comprehensive data sources. We talk about the data source where we actually match that data with our sanctions. The data provider, well known providers are Refinitiv, LexisNexis, you know, so on and so forth. Now, what are the benefits of financial institution using of these technologies now? Machine learning, AI algorithms actually are now the new phenomena which already institutions are using since years, but it will really reduce the false positive and negative matches. RPA, which actually mimic the human decisions which are already taken and reduce the negative matches especially, and take automatic decision based on the previous human decisions. Real-time monitoring, immediate alerts for potential sanction matches so that the transactions should not pass. Improved risk assessment from MI and AI based data sets. It will definitely improve the process. And then regulatory compliance, once we implement the right technology, which is aligned with the regulation, definitely we will be par of the regulation. Now, talking about sanctions compliance, due diligence program, and evaluation of vendor. This is one of the key area we actually need to focus, that which system is a right fit for us and how to evaluate a vendor. Now, there are a lot of system providers. When evaluating a regulatory technology vendor for sanction compliance, especially or due diligence program implementation, consider these key factors. The first one is vendor rating sources. So, there are vendor rating sources. I put a diagram here, chart as a rectangle quadrant, which actually tells that which system is ranking, in sanction screening or monitoring watch list. So we can see Refinitiv, Equity, these systems are there. It doesn't mean that if you see it from this source that is done and you will click or you buy that system. It depends on your expertise, how you understand the system, and what actually you need and how you customize it if it is needed to be customized. So expertise is very important. Look for a vendor with a deep knowledge and experience in implementing AML program. So definitely you will look for a track record of that particular vendor when you are selecting it. Scalability, that ensure vendor implementing process can accommodate future growth and changing needs, because as we see sanctions and AML related issues are very dynamic and changing frequently. So scalability is something very important for us while evaluating the vendor. Then flexibility, determine if the vendor can adapt their solution to your specific requirement, because sometimes we see that vendor says that's what we have, we cannot customize it. So that there the challenge might come, because then again, if every customization you will go, the vendor might ask additional cost and other things. So you need to be very, while selecting, discuss these areas where the vendor should be flexible as well. Now, timelines, something is very crucial and important. Why? Because while at the sale point, the vendor will say, "We will do whatever you want, we will do." But whenever it comes to an implementation, you'll see a big gap, because either your requirements when you present it to them were not clear, or the vendors don't have that much team to implement it the way you wanted. All these things are very crucial. That's why I said track record. After the implementation support, again it's challenging sometimes, where we don't get effective or efficient support. So these are the key areas which are important in terms of vendor evolution. Now, implementing sanction compliance due diligence systems, what are the pitfalls? Pitfalls, if I say, is the failures to stay updated with evolving sanctions. Again, the regulations risk. So, lack of awareness is one of the key. Another thing is inadequate risk assessment, insufficient identifications of areas of exposure. If you don't do, you will be highlighted to the risks. And then your risk assessment should be proper in terms of either it's AML, CFT, or it's sanction related risk. Then weak written policies and procedures, unclear to or incomplete guidelines, inconsistent with the compliance practices or the best practices, is again a pitfall if you are not align it while implementing your system. Now, when we talk about challenges, customer due diligence complexity, definitely it's a complex process, time consuming resources. Enhanced due diligence challenges, where you don't have if sufficient document to complete your process. For special, especially if we talk about payment screening, remittance transaction, you don't have enough information for the beneficiary end. So these are the challenges. Now, screening and monitoring technology, it need definitely investment and expertise. So that might be a challenge for an organization to change the existing legacy system and to go to the new and updated system, or to introduce new features within the system. Integration and maintenance complexities are another challenges, that whether your existing legacy system, core systems, can integrate the new technology or not. Then training staff and buy-in, employees understand compliance importance, encourage active participation. That is really important, that employees feedback need to be taken and they need to be aware what is going on in this regard. Now, these are some of the logics called fuzzy logics and common fuzzy logic algorithms. I will not go into the deep due to time constraint. So these are the areas where actually the challenges come. System will not address some of the key areas. For example, phonetic similarity is one of the algorithms, and then missing name components. Can these algorithms need to be inbuilt in the system in order to cover the sanction risk and challenges? What are the lesson learned actually in this approach? We as an organization is that you should have an regulatory proactivity, stay up to date with the changes, improve your previous risk assessment, improve your policy procedures, continue the learning journey, the training of your existing staff with regards to the systems which you are implementing, and the collaboration with the technology partners, that is something important. Understand the technology which is being implemented, and then train your staff accordingly to improve the processes to get the or achieve the goal which you want. So sanction team approach to review and deploy, this is the normal practice where starting the review and assessment of the system, deployment planning, data quality related issues, testing and validations, user training awareness, monitoring and optimization, and continuous improvement. It's a cycle, it will go through like this. Then the BAU approved business as usual management, establish the policies, train, routine task, alerts management, process optimization. It's a continuous process where you optimize your processes, and then compliance reporting. So these are some of the system which are there in the market, especially for sanction related issues. I believe NetReveal is one of the sponsors of this event as well. I've included their system, which is also one of the known system in the market in this domain. AML, CFT, sanctions, they have a complete package. And then Fircosoft, Oracle Financial Services, Nice Actimize. A case study which I would like to share is that in 2014, Citigroup settled potential civil liability with OFAC in part of failing accurately identifying a sanction target. Its screening tool missed similarity between the word for and off. Citigroup had precisely processed a payment to the Higher Institute of Applied Sciences based in Syria. When the payment message was received, the name of recipient was identified as Higher Institute for Applied Sciences. So just for and off. I'm sure this case study is of 2014. Now the system of Citibank or all the banks around the group, are very efficient. But this was one of the areas to highlight, is that for and off can miss a sanction match. So the bank AST screening tool failed to identify the possible match and did not generate the alert. The transaction was processed without manual intervention, and Citigroup did not voluntarily disclose this apparent violation. So ultimately, they paid the penalty to US authorities, US Treasury Department. So, what are the key takeaways from this case study? It's critical for an organization to effectively calibrate its screening tool so that they would search for, both and off, or not exclude either one of or other. When onboarding technology solution, an organization should ensure it has good test example to use on algorithm. This is something very important, that you should have examples. You should do your UAT properly, and your tool should be calibrated with the regulations and the technology and the lessons which you have learned previously. The case studies, you should test it in your system. While to conclude my session, I just briefed it due to limitation of the time. Although this topic is very vast, we can talk for long hours. But to conclude it, is to implementing effective sanction is vital. Definitely, it's important. It's a regulatory mandate that you should have. Establish robust policy and procedure to control and support the compliance efforts. Utilize advanced technology for real-time screening. You should update your systems and technology if you're using a legacy system. If legacy system can accommodate the integration with new technology, well and good. If not, organization need to invest on it, because if you are not going to invest, the non-compliance cost is really far beyond the investment which you are going to do. Conduct regular reviews and optimize the system for enhanced effectiveness. Something is very important, that you should review whatever is there in the practice. Should not wait that regulator come and they do their testing and review. Mitigate penalties and safeguard a reputation by demonstrating a commitment to compliance. Adopt industry best practices to ensure a highest level of compliance. Stay informed about regulatory developments. Maintain a proactive mindset, something very important when it comes to sanction, when it comes to AML CFT. Continuous monitoring and assess the system performance, and identify, address potential risk or weaknesses in the system to improve your overall system if it is implemented, or either you're planning to implement a new system. I think I just concluded it within my time, I believe so, Mr. Anil. If there is any question, I'm here to address it. If no, we can wind up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Talal, for the presentation. So as of now, we haven't received any questions for the session. In case we receive it at the end of the day, I'll definitely connect with you over email, and I'll correct and also connect you to the person who has requested
Sure,
for certain
sure.
clarification.
Pleasure,
Right.
pleasure.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Mr. Talal, for taking your time off your busy schedule to be a part of this particular initiative. And we will definitely look forward to working with you on our future initiatives.
thank you so much. Pleasure to be here and
Okay.
work with you. Thank you. Bye.
Have a nice day.
Have a
Bye.
nice